A bob cut. A bob is a short haircut for women in which the hair is typically cut straight around the head at about jaw level, often with a fringe at the front. The bob is cut at the level of ears, below the ears or above shoulders. History. Historically, women in the West have usually worn the hair long, although young girls, actresses and a few advanced or fashionable women had worn short hair even before World War I. For example, in 1910 the French actress Polaire is described as having a shock of short, dark hair, a cut she adopted in the early 1890s. The style was not considered generally respectable until given impetus by the inconvenience of long hair to girls engaged in war work. English society beauty Lady Diana Cooper, who had had bobbed hair as a child, kept the style through her teenage years and continued in 1914 as an adult. Renowned dancer and fashion trendsetter Irene Castle introduced her castle bob to a receptive American audience in 1915, and by 1920 the style was rapidly becoming fashionable, popularized by film stars Colleen Moore and Louise Brooks in the early 1920s. It was still seen as a somewhat shocking statement of independence in young women, as older people were used to seeing girls wearing long dresses and heavy Edwardian-style hairdresses, whose training was mainly in arranging and curling long hair, were slow to realize that short styles for women had arrived to stay, and barbers in many cities found lines of women outside the shops waiting to be shorn of hair that had taken many years to grow. Although as early as 1922 the fashion correspondent of the Times was suggesting that bob hair was passé, by the mid-1920s the style was the dominant female hairstyle in the Western world. The style was spreading even beyond the West, as women who rejected traditional roles adopted the bob cut as a sign of modernity. Close-fitting cloche hats had also become very popular and couldn't be worn with long hair. Well-known bob wearers were actresses Clara Bow and Joan Crawford, as well as Dutch film star Truus van Alten. As the 1930s approached, women started to grow their hair longer, and the sharp lines of the bob were abandoned. 1960s and beyond. In the 1960s, Vidal Sassoon made it popular again, using the shape of the early bob and making it more stylish in a simpler cut. Its resurgence coincided with the arrival of the mop-top Beatle cut for men. Those associated with the bob at the time included the fashion designers Mary Quant and Jean Muir, actresses Nancy Kwan, Carolyn Jones, Barbara Feldon and Amanda Barry, and singers as diverse as Keely Smith, Cilla Black, Billy Davis, Juliet Greco, Murray Matthew and Beverly Bivens of the American group We5. Many styles and combinations of the bob have evolved since. In the late 1980s, Susie Sue, lead singer of Susie and the Banshees, and Corinne Drury, singer of Swing Out Sister, had bob cuts for a short time. Singer Linda Ronstadt sported a very Louise Brooks-inspired bob on the cover of two Grammy Award-winning albums in the late 1980s. 1987's trio album with Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris, and her 1989 release Cry Like a Rainstorm, Howl Like the Wind. She also wears the cut in the video for her duet with James Ingram, Somewhere Out There. Anna Wintour, editor-in-chief of American Vogue since 1988, apparently had hers trimmed every day. In the early 1990s, Cyndi Lauper had a bob hair cut with very unusual colors. Soon afterwards, the cut became identified with Uma Thurman's character of Mia Wallace in Quentin Tarantino's 1994 film Pulp Fiction. In the mid to late 1990s, T-Boz of TLC also had a bob hair cut with very unusual colors that was asymmetrical with bangs. Also, for the first two seasons and the first two episodes of the third season of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, the character of Lois Lane had a trademark bob hair cut. Also, in Barry Sonnenfeld's 1997 film Men in Black, the character of Dr. Laurel Weaver also sported a bob. 2000's revival. In 2006, the bob was adopted by the singer Madonna and, as a move away from boho chic, by actress Sienna Miller. In November 2005, Canadian ice dancer Christina Lenko was asked to join ITV1's new series, Dancing on Ice. She went to her stylist in Toronto and told him, "Do whatever you like." Quote, he cut Lenko's waist-length hair into what is referred to as an A-line bob, where the hair is shorter in the back and gradually longer toward the front, with the longest pieces toward the front of the face. Later, ex-Spice Girl Victoria Beckham decided to cut her own hair into such a style, helping to raise its popularity worldwide, with girls asking hairdressers for a bob. Was Beckham's nickname Posh Spice conflated with bob. In 2007, R&B singer Rihanna had a bob haircut in the video for Umbrella. She has stated that she got her inspiration from Charlize Theron in Aeon Flux. Keira Knightley had a bob in her short TV ad for Coco Mademoiselle. Actress Christina Ricci also had a bob for live-action movie version for 60s anime series Speed Racer and later onwards. Katie Holmes got a bob cut with bangs in 2007. At her third show in Brisbane, Australia, Britney Spears wore the bob throughout her concert. Jenny McCarthy is known for sporting an A-line bob. Kate Bosworth is said to have popularized the bob in 2008. Shoulder-length bobs became popular after being sported by stars such as Heidi Klum and Jessica Alba. A shaggy version of the bob was popularized by Diana Agron and Rooney Mara. Types: Asian bob, cut at the neckline, bobbed up around the edge. A line bob, a typical bob cut, with slightly longer hair in front, cut in an asymmetrical style. Chin-length bob, cut straight to the chin, with or without bangs. Buzz cut bob, where it is shoulder-length in the front and close-cropped at the back. Shaggy bob, a messy bob blade with a razor. Shoulder-length bob, a blunt bob that reaches the shoulders and has very few layers. Shingle bob. The shingle bob was introduced around 1923. It consists of a cut that is tapered very short in the back, exposing the hairline at the neck. The hair on the sides is formed into a single curler point on each cheek. It is also commonly referred to as a graduated bob.